Life before Bytecurve for our routing department, for our department as a whole, it was very challenging.
Prior to Bytecurve, managing payroll was a daunting task. Nancy, my coworker, and I had 75 people that we would add the time cards, and I brought an example of the time cards right here.
The integration with a Bytecurve when we're submitting it to our TCP Time Clock Plus program, it's actually very simple. We go to payroll reports, and then we just make sure everything's verified first and that there are no exceptions in Bytecurve. And we send it over to TCP, run that report, import it into TCP. It's a really simple process.
Prior to Bytecurve, you will have to look for the drivers to make sure and verify that they're at work, whereas with Bytecurve, now we just look on the screen and see who's punched in.
You know, we were kind of unorganized. When I say unorganized, as far as being able to organize our routes in a system to where we can manage them, it just became a lot easier for us to manage our routes in our system, being able to schedule routes in the system. Before, we could not do that. And so with Bytecurve, it made life a lot easier for us to do the scheduling for all of our routes.
Bytecurve makes it easy to change the routes and amend the routes. It's a database that houses everything that we need. So once it's inputted, it's easy to be able to connect the routes to individuals in the system.
There's a messaging app in Bytecurve, and we can send drivers messages. So when drivers clock in for the day, they can actually see that message as to what route they're taking.
So in my opinion, for Bytecurve, I believe it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's very user-friendly. I've dealt with other timekeeping softwares before, and this one to me seems by far the easiest. We can adjust it the way we want to, constantly manipulate what we need to, and if there's any issues with tech support, I can get a response. Typically, the longest I see is 10 minutes, and they're on it, they'll fix it.
The biggest reward for me in this role is seeing our students being able to get to school and receive that education. That's very important, the instructional time. Being on time for that, which Bytecurve has helped us tremendously in tracking that. And I remember when I was once a kid and how I enjoyed getting on the school bus to see my driver and getting to school to receive that education.